It's Steve Kyler and Giannis Koutroupas, HOOPSWORLD TV. News out of L.A., Giannis. Mike Brown out after 5 games. That is the quickest firing of a head coach in Laker history. Del Harris was fired after 12 games. Mike Brown done as head coach of the L.A. Lakers. One, are you surprised?
I'm surprised by the timing more than anything, because I think clearly a 1-4 start was not what this team was expecting. Even with Steve Nash out, they thought they had the depth to endure that. But obviously there was a disconnect with Mike Brown and his players, and there was a general belief that was strong enough with that team that he wasn't the guy to take them to a championship level, and that a change needed to be made. I honestly thought he was going to at least have through the 6-game homestand, give him a little bit of a chance there. But I guess if you're giving him through the 6-game homestand and seeing how he does through then, you're kind of at a point where a decision needs to be made anyway.
And that was the word, was that, this next 6-game, 9-day homestand was going to be a chance for the Lakers. And especially considering who they were playing, so many teams below 500 right now, that this was going to be the chance for them to right the ship, get some easy wins, if you will. But I think this is a bigger thing. Everybody's looking at the 1-4 start, but they're forgetting last season too under Mike Brown. And, the word out of LA was too nice, too easygoing. He was the guy that would kind of let things slide that maybe other coaches wouldn't. And when you think about championship mentality, is the guy that's willing to walk past a problem the right guy? And, there's been some discussion about, well, maybe Jerry Sloan, maybe Mike D'Antoni, maybe they can get Phil Jackson to come back. Well, one, Mike D'Antoni's had a knee replacement surgery, so word is he can't even get from here to there until maybe December. So living the NBA life, I think that's a little bit of a reach. As you start to talk about Jerry Sloan, I think from an X's and O's point of view, Jerry Sloan makes a lot of sense. But from a who is the person that is Jerry Sloan and the lifestyle you have to live in L.A., I couldn't think of a worse fit than Jerry Sloan for the L.A. Lakers. But, Phil Jackson, Jerry Sloan, Mike D'Antoni, is there a better guy in your mind? Is there a championship guy there, maybe other than Phil Jackson?
No, I don't think so. I think for this Lakers franchise with $100 million payroll, so much going into this year and these next 2 to 3 years, really banking on the end of the Kobe Bryant era, producing a couple more championships for them, they've got to go with one of those two guys. I think that Jerry Sloan is definitely from off the court standpoint, and with the whole media presence that they have there in Los Angeles, kind of an awkward fit. But that's a guy that I think if I'm Jerry and Jim Butts and Mitch Kupchak, I would be thinking long and hard about. And of course, Phil Jackson has really become this franchise's security blanket over the past 10, 12 years. When they're struggling, when they're in a hard time, they go to Phil Jackson. And it's funny because you talk about going from the Princeton offense, which has been a big question mark. The triangle offense is even more complex and even more difficult to pick up. But at least you have a guy who's won championships with it more than any head coach in NBA history, and you have confidence in his ability to get the job done. So I think for the Lakers, it's a real simple process. It needs to be one of those two guys. I like D'Antoni. I like Nate McMillan, but I think that you got to go with someone who this team is going to respect. I think because clearly the respect wasn't there with Mike Brown, and the only two guys to get the respect of this team are probably Phil Jackson and Jerry Sloan.
Let me throw a dark horse at you. Let's say Jerry Sloan, it isn't going to happen, and Phil Jackson says, no, that's why I left. How about Brian Shaw? He's the lead assistant with the Indiana Pacers. Certainly he's somebody that a lot of people in the organization know. Would you see a Brian Shaw as maybe a fit in the mold of a Phil Jackson just because of knowing that personnel the way he does?
It's an interesting thing, and I think that his name may come up, but I think if Brian Shaw was going to be the head coach of this team, it was coming off of that Phil Jackson era. And now a year removed from that with so many personnel changes, I don't think that the completely inexperienced Brian Shaw is the guy that as a head coach is the guy that you hire when you just let go a guy who's far more proven as a head coach than Mike Brown. I think that that's too much risk associated with that. They need to go with a safer big name hire, and that's why I think they throw that blank check at Jerry Sloan or Phil Jackson and say, whatever it takes, fill it in and come get the job done.
He's Giannis Koutroupas. I'm Steve Kyler. This is HOOPSWORLD TV.